So you came up with 10 questions. I'm excited to hear what they are.
The 10 least asked questions that should be by business owners.
It really helps to think, oh, okay, what is the reason for all this? What's my purpose in this?
What would I do differently if I were not afraid?
It's a good question for life, not just business.
What if I had to replace myself tomorrow? What would break?
Everything.
If that's the case, not a good answer.
Expert advice, practical tips, real-life stories. Have less stress, more time, and more money in your business. Welcome to the Cash Flow Contractor.
Martin, it's been a while.
It has, man. You've had a life event, maybe more than one life event since.
So many life events. Yeah, we've got our new daughter. Welcomed her to the world on July 8th. And tomorrow will be her 1 month birthday. So that's exciting, which is actually her due date. So she was 5 weeks early.
She's kind of small.
Yeah, so she's a bit small, but we did no NICU time or anything like that. And her name is Luca Maria. And yeah, we're really enjoying it. So,
very cool. Yeah.
But thanks for your patience. Thanks for recording a couple of episodes. I actually heard good things. I know that you don't love doing the solo episodes, but I got some emails that, I love that.
Well, good.
So,
I'm glad to hear that. I had some people actually say they listened to it too, and I'm always shocked. Really?
Yeah.
Had I known that, I would have. No.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun, and I'm getting better at it where I'm not trying to pre-plan a speech and read it or anything, just freaking talking. And that's why it's great having you, because I see the expression on your face. You can see me,
Right.
I'll
be sure to only do negative facial expressions going forward
There you
for
go.
this episode. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Are you crazy? Yeah.
How is your TikTok, by the way? Is that still?
Hey, man, I've got
thing?
1,275 followers.
But who's counting?
Pardon? Yeah.
But who's counting?
I think it's actually 76. But I'm still shown as a TikToker from Mexico.
Because that's where your assistant created it?
Yeah. And so we're trying to get it moved up here. And it says where it'll go to English speakers. Actually, it does. I have people up here who watch it. But anyway, I'm really shocked. All those years, you tried to get me to do videos. Yenish goes, do a video. I go, yes, ma'am. I'll go do it.
Well, it's different when you have someone that you talk to every day and it's like, hey, you didn't do it.
She wants it. And I just send it to her and she edits it and makes it look better, puts the captioning on it. So all I have to do, and then just driving around thinking of things that you can talk about TikTok length. If you put me on the spot like today, say, what do you want to talk about? I don't know. But if you have it over time, I've probably got 200 topics that I can do,
That's
short
great.
videos on. One of which looking for topics prompted my idea for this episode.
Yeah, so you came up with 10 questions. I'm excited to hear what they are. And these are the 10 least asked questions, is that right?
Yeah, the 10 least asked questions that should be by business owners. I thought it was a good
and what
idea.
made you come up with this?
I had done one, what are the 10 most common questions asked by business owners? And I got that from chat. Matter of fact, Jenny did some deep diving around. And about 6 of them were marketing.
Oh, yeah.
So,
we got to get sales. Got to generate sales.
And that's true. I used to write for Forbes Coaches Council. And the articles that got the most reads were all around attracting customers. And that's kind of the way the world works a lot. People think everything else is easy. Well, I may not think it's easy, but I can do that. I'm in control of that. What I'm not in control of is my customers. And so anyway, we can answer 10 of the same question, or then the idea popped in.
Let's go. What's the first question?
The first question, number 1, what do I actually want this business to do for me?
Rather than
I guess
we
just
don't need to do the rather than. rather than just going to work. What do I actually want is, so basically just their head down, they're focused on what's
Yeah,
happening today, what's on the schedule, what are we,
yeah,
where's our revenue right now, rather than looking up and saying, why am I doing this? And what is this
well,
actually doing
yeah.
for
I
me?
mean, it's partly a question of vision, which we talk about all the time as being number one. Absolutely,
Hmm.
what do you want? So otherwise, what are we doing? But what do I want this to do for me? Takes us even a little further, maybe into the realm of selling the business, or
Yeah.
I started this to get free time, and how'd that work out, right?
Yeah.
Started this to have, work on my own schedule. How's that working out?
Hmm.
Started this to relax and get people off my case. How'd that work out? So returning back to what do I want the business to do for me so that I can work toward getting it to do that. And I think that's
Okay. And that's a question
everybody
you
should
ask
think
in
that.
your, that's basically the question you ask business owners in your first coaching
Yeah.
session. What do you
Yeah.
want?
Well, yeah, I like the way this kind of phrased out. It's just subtly different. Do I want to sell it? You know, is it my identity? Is it going to provide me a lifestyle living, or am I just in it and I'm a competitive person, so I'm going to succeed, which maybe means making money
Hmm.
without really thinking that's not what I started this for. So
Yeah.
anyway, I just thought it's a great question people can ask, that the business is serving me.
Yeah.
I am not serving the business. And I think people would, if they ask themselves that question, which one is it? They might find out that they're serving their business. And I don't mean in a good way, like serving their
Yeah.
clients. They're serving everybody.
Yeah.
Business
It
owners
becomes
get
where
paid
the
less.
business owns them rather than them
Yeah.
owning the
Yeah.
business. Yeah.
So I guess maybe that's one of the big distinctions between what do you want and what do you want this business to do for me,
Yeah.
right?
No, that's really
So,
good. I think if you can get your head up a little bit,
right.
it really helps to think, oh, okay, what is the reason for all this? And
Yeah.
if I'm starting the business, there's got to be some reason for me. Like, what's my purpose in this? So that's really good. Okay,
Got a
what's the next
great,
question?
well, let me jump a quote real quick that I got from one of my clients. But Alexander Hamilton, that we all know,
Yeah.
he was a hero in a play. But anyway, his father was a mid-level aristocrat and a plantation owner in wherever in the
Hmm.
Caribbean, died a pauper and an alcoholic. And his historian said, I think it's John, anyway, that man lacked the self-interest necessary to prosper in trade. I thought,
To prosper what?
wow, in trade,
In
in
trade.
business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He lacked the self-interest to prosper in trade.
Interesting. Self-interest.
Yeah.
Not
It
self-discipline, but self-interest.
self-interest. I mean, yeah. No, that's that's big. And that anyway, that's part of what I want this to do for me. People are serving everybody else, and there are lots of reasons. Not just because they're servants at heart. Sometimes they're scared to negotiate, or they're don't whatever the reasons. But when you have self-interest and you're looking out for you, things go differently, and that's kind of what it is about the for me.
That's great. Okay, so question number 2.
Okay, I'm going to ask this one to you. What is the one number I need to look at every week?
I just did some work on this. The one number that I need to look at every week is sales appointments.
Okay.
That's the one that I really need to be focused on, at least in this current state. Thinking about theory of constraints, which we're going to talk about probably a little bit, or maybe glance over in a couple weeks. But what is the one thing that's, a bottleneck for our business right now? And it's qualified appointments, right? So I just need to be focusing on, hey, how many appointments are we generating every single week? And where, focusing on that number.
Yeah, and I think that's a great one.
Yeah.
Our listeners may have different ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe they can sell things, but they can't get them built. Man hours per. man hours per job, or man hour accuracy of my bidding. I bid it for this, comparison of plan to actual.
Yeah.
I'm doing that with a client every week when we talk now. I bid them with a 45% margin, but I only get 21%. What the hell?
Yeah.
Right? Well, it turns out it really wasn't bidding with a 40 in his case. Sometimes it's because the guy's your labor and so on. But wherever the problem is, and it's maybe a couple of layers deep from what you see, like we're not getting sales, we'll sell more. Well, why not? Why aren't we selling more? We got to get leads. Where are we going to get leads? Well, I got to figure out whatever marketing thing activity I'm going to do, and I'm going to do that. So, but wherever you're suffering, pick a number out of that, a KPI out of that, and monitor it. And I can't remember which, I think it's Durant said that what gets measured gets managed. I add to that, what gets managed gets better. It just does. If you're paying attention to something, it gets better. And when it gets better, profitability and all those things improve too.
Yeah.
So that's a
Well, I
good
think
question.
it's also not just important for the business owner. I think it's important for especially the leadership team or the people that work right underneath you. If you can give them one number,
Right.
it makes managing them easier. It makes the person feel a sense of direction. Just like it's easier for you, it's easier for them to have focus and clarity on what they need to be doing. And so if you can find that number, not just for yourself, but for the other people on your team, and let them know what your number is. And sometimes it's all everybody rallying around the same one, but sometimes it's, okay, this is my number with so-and-so, this is my number with so-and-so. That's what we're focused on. So when I have a conversation with them every week, it's, hey, how's that? What's the status?
In his book, Good to Great, Jim Collins describes, that it's a classic, what differentiates some companies that take off versus those that don't. And one of his key things, there are leadership and different things, but one of them is that he says great companies have a denominator that informs their every decision. And a denominator is a KPI, something per something.
Right.
Sales per store, sales per square foot in the store, dollars of gross profit per man hour we spend, and then people always are a little contemptuous of them because they're right there for us to look at. But profitability is a really good KPI, right?
Absolutely.
Gross profit margin. If you've listened to us, that's one of our major KPIs. So finding out something that needs to be improved and then finding a number that measures it and track that number and let everybody know you're tracking it.
Yeah.
They will pay
absolutely.
attention.
Quick ad break to tell you a little bit about OpenPhone. If you're a contractor that has a single cell phone, you're probably inundated with text messages and phone calls, oftentimes that you can't be responsive to or that you can't answer at all. So what's the solution? You can buy another office line with Verizon or AT&T, and you can have an iPhone that is passed around from employee to employee, depending on who's on call. But what if there's a better way? What if there's a way that you can have all your phone calls recorded to go back and listen to later, transcribed with summaries so that you can get a quick glance at what happened during the phone call, and even connect it to your CRM where all your other customer information is? OpenPhone is the perfect solution because it does just that. You're able to add all the users you need to for whoever needs to have access to the lines for your company phone. And then you can also find all of the information you need at a glance with a centralized location for all phone calls and text messages with your customers. Whether it's for marketing, for sales, or for service, OpenPhone is the perfect solution for you and your team. If you're interested, we have an offer down the show notes from OpenPhone. Please click the link down the show notes, or you can see it here on your screen to be able to find more information about OpenPhone. Thanks for listening. Back to the episode.
Number 3, I love this question. Which parts of my business would break if we doubled our size?
Yeah, this brings up a lot of the stuff that you talk about in your just capacity issues. And I like how you apply it to the finances. Like if you were to double your business, well, then you double your receivables.
Yeah.
And can you afford to double your receivables? Things like that. So it's really good.
Well, I mean, the things that constrain doubling in size, assuming we're talking about sales, because that's what usually are. But I mean, you have to have the people who can do it. You have to have the bidders who can bid the jobs. You have to have the equipment that can do it. You absolutely have to be able to finance all the receivables and the things that are going to go wrong and the increases in your inventory. So you just look at everything you're doing now and just go, wow, who's going to do that? And if nothing else, it goes to something I think we talked about before clicking on here. Everybody wants to double their sales. And I say, what the hell you want to do that for? How about you just double your profit? You can double your profit. There are myriad ways to double your profit with far less effort and risk than it takes to double your sales. And if you get where you've doubled your profitability, you have resources, you have money, and you have some knowledge that you go out there and go, okay, we're going to double our sales, but we're not going to do it by discounting. We're going to do it by operational excellence, right? So anyway, I love that question.
That's good. Okay. Next one. What do you have? Number 4 is this?
Yeah, number 4. Am I managing people or am I babysitting them?
Okay. And so why do you think this is a least asked question?
Because I don't think people because people are unaware. I got to do it myself because nobody will, and they're not around there thinking consciously usually, oh, I must do it myself. But they just go, no, I don't have, internal clock. Don't have time to teach this guy. I got to do it. Anyway, he screwed up. You know all the reasons. That was a rhetorical question.
I think, sure, it kind of is. But I think at the same time, I would almost am I managing people or am I abdicating responsibility, or am I not really from my experience with contractors, they're very busy, but they also expect people to just be able to do their job. But they don't actually manage them in the sense that hey, this is my direct report, and I'm going to give this guy 30 minutes every week of just management and coaching and development to say, hey, how are you doing? How are we doing? What are the things that you're struggling with? What are the things that you think we should be working on next? How can we improve processes? What's going on in your personal life? I feel like that responsibility is usually not taken. And that's the reason why there's a lot of turnover. That's why there's not a lot of growth within the company. That's why we're not promoting people a lot of times. That's why we're frustrated with our people a lot of times. That's the question I have. Am I managing people or am I just hiring them, essentially, rather than babysitting them?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts go more to micromanaging, but for the babysitters. But you're right. The things that you described, the training is how you convert from a babysitter to a manager by empowering them and teaching them and letting them go. Matter of fact, we got to talk about empowering employees in another future episode. Okay, ready for the next one?
Yeah, number 5.
Okay. What if I had to replace myself tomorrow? What would break?
Okay. Everything.
And if that's the case, not a good answer.
You got a great job. Or a high-risk job. Maybe not a great job, but you have a high-risk job.
Yeah.
Not a business. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I run through that all the time, every single day. With clients and also with Diane's business I talk about. I mean, all these things she does. And I go, ooh, who's going to do that? I mean, it's not just what she does, how she does it. But if you're ever going to exit, or if you ever want to reach that point where you build a profitable business that works without you, you got to answer that question and stop it from breaking. Make provisions so that it doesn't break.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's hard. At the end of the day, some businesses are just lifestyle businesses, and that's okay. Not every business needs to be systemized and the owner removed, as long as you understand that's the game that you're playing. Hey, this is a lifestyle business. And really, probably the smartest thing you can do if that's the case is, hey, it's a lifestyle business. I am critical to the business, but I do have some systems where I'm able to take vacation 6 weeks a year, throughout the year. And I'm able to have my own schedule and all that stuff. The only thing that you should say is, okay, my value is not stored in the business, so I need to be storing value somewhere else.
Excellent. Yeah, you got to
Right.
have a
And so,
reserve
so if
built
that's
up.
the,
Yeah.
so it's not totally, oh, if I had to replace myself tomorrow, what would break? No, okay. I'm going to be pulling out X amount of dollars every year and putting it into, index funds, or I'm going to be investing into real estate and building my wealth outside of the business. The problem is whenever you're not seeing that the value needs to be stored out of the business and you think that, oh, well, there's value in my business. And that's whenever things break.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion there. Now, there are really great ways to replace yourself with a business or build wealth within your business. And that should be something you should consider. But it does require you to operate differently than a lifestyle business.
Yeah.
And so maybe not the best thing for most people.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a great check to see what should I be working on? What should I do? So
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. What's number? Is
Number
it 6 now? What's number
6.
6?
What decisions am I avoiding?
It's too many.
I got one.
Yeah.
Should I mean, a general, not my
Not
issue
yours.
with me right now, but I really need to let Timmy go. Or I really
always
need
the
to hire
case.
somebody, but I'm putting it off,
Yeah.
right? And I'm going to use the numbers from a real example, but I'm not going to name the company. It's not around here, but it's a real company
Okay,
that I
go
know.
ahead.
Worked with them for a long time to cut overhead.
Mm-hmm.
And they did some, got profitable, but still disappointing, right? So they
Yeah.
sold the business. It's in the process. The new owner walked in with $47,000 a month of overhead cuts. Half of them already done. The others not done because they're contractual. This is on a $3 million business, sales. Okay? There was some, as one of my clients calls them, butt blocks. There are mental blocks. There are some issues, and usually relating to the next question. But what decision am I avoiding? And you can add to that, and what consequences are resulting because of me
Okay.
avoiding that decision.
Yeah. So our whole team actually is going through a GTD workshop for 12 weeks, getting things done. I think I mentioned it on the
Yeah.
show. It's really good. Something part of the getting things done system. Just really brief summary of it. Your mind is great for having ideas and it's terrible for storing them. And so if I had to put it on an index card of what is getting things done, it's write things down, right? A lot of these decisions that you're avoiding aren't written down, right? Because it's not just the one. Yeah, sure. Maybe the biggest one that you can think of is Timmy needs to be let go, right? But there's a lot of decisions. Should we invest in this? Do we hire that person? I mean,
Yeah.
do we cut this expense? All these different things, and they're not written down, right? They're just in here. They're talked about, but there's not a written down process, right? Of like, hey, what is the decision? Okay. And so I think even just the act of writing down what decisions am I avoiding and listing them out, and then putting, like you said, what it would be the impact of me doing this and not doing this, right? And maybe if you want to go one step further, pros, cons list, right? But doing that and having it written down will probably get rid of 50% of the stress on your plate. And then a part of the reason why I bring getting things done up is because part of it is that you have a someday maybe list, right? Meaning these are decisions that need to be made, right? Maybe it's that, oh, what if we bought a new vehicle? Well, I'm not ready to make that decision. I'm going to put on the someday maybe, right? Now, on the someday maybe list, what that means is this is either something I will do someday, or maybe I will do this. I need to make a decision if it's going to be something I do or not, right? And if you do that with a lot of these decisions, which I'm in the process of doing right now, the clarity that I feel with a lot of decisions I typically avoid is great, because every week I'm reviewing my someday maybe list and I see these decisions and they get referenced back up again, right? And then I'm able to say, okay, I need to execute. I can even set a date on it. Hey, by this date, I'm going to make a decision on this. But yes, there are a lot of decisions that are avoided, mainly because you're making so many decisions.
Yeah.
And to think about the stress of another decision made, that's a big one, is a lot.
I tell you, I've always thought this, and I'll just throw it out there. There's discussion around it. I say 95% of life is decisions. That's all it is. Just random. We're going to do this or doing that. The rest is physics.
All right, what's number 7?
Okay, number 7 affects number 6, in my opinion. Number 7 is, what would I do differently if I were not afraid?
It's a good question for life, not just business.
Yes, the
It's a good question for
life.
anybody in life. Hey, what would
Yeah.
you do if you weren't afraid of it? Like, there's the question that people always ask, or not always, but you hear, hey, if money wasn't an object and you had everything taken care of, all your needs, like, what is it that you would do? And essentially that gets to like the fear of like,
Yeah.
well, if I don't have enough money, or if I don't, if everything were taken care of, right? So, but yeah, I think that's a great one. What
You
are
think
you
about
afraid
the
of?
big boss in contractors, and they don't really associate the word fear with it, and maybe they're not scared of the guys or the dog or any of that stuff, but say, we need to hire somebody to come in and do your books for $2,500 a month. I can't afford it. I'm gonna put the money out there. I've got this little net. Anyway, that
Yeah.
fear of spending money to increase capacity is really, I see it all the time. I'm working with a guy right now. He's got 10 times the money he thought he would have a few years ago, but still reluctant, still scared, really scared. He even uses the word to spend it, to hire people to do what he needs to do to break out of his where he is. So anyway, that's been my deal my whole life. What are you scared of?
Yeah. I think that for most people, if I had to guess, it would be to fire people that aren't making it. It would be to hire people that are better, that are, whatever it is. I would think the next one would probably be around their margin, around like higher
Pricing.
prices, bidding
Yeah.
higher, right? Even saying no to some jobs that they know that they would lose money on, but they're taking because they need to keep the guys busy. They need to get some cash in the door, whatever it is. And then I think the next one would probably be some sort of personal thing. Like, they're afraid to take a vacation because of whatever. They're afraid to hire an assistant to help them because they're worried about overhead. They're afraid to,
Yeah.
pull some money out to do something for their family because they need the money in the business, those kinds of things. So that's what comes to mind for me.
It's a great source. All those are totally valid, and there are a million more. But asking that question is a great source of opportunity, because you go through that, think through it rationally. I'll just throw out one more kind of an example. People are reluctant to hire an expensive person. They just generally are. Let's say somebody out here in Oklahoma that $120,000 a year. Say, man, I don't know, but I'm going to hire somebody cheap that will do more harm than good. But I'm really relying $120,000. My point is, you can look at that and say, I'm scared of that expenditure. But it's not $120,000. It's 3 months at whatever, $27,000. And if they're just totally not working out, you can let them go, right?
Yeah.
So you can think your way through and say, well, it's not as bad as I think, and make decisions that can be breakout. So anyway, there are plenty of things that people are scared of. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what's the next one?
Number 8.
Number 8. Okay.
Yep. Where are we leaking margin?
Everywhere.
People that work with me,
All around us.
they do ask that question. I'm working with a guy, maybe I mentioned him, I talked to you about him before, maybe I did already here, but every month, every time we meet. We go over his bid versus actual, and they were right margins, cost, and what's left over from price minus cost, what's
Yeah.
left over, and it was terrible. And so going through analysis, I mean, he's bidding at 40, he's getting 19 and 20, right? And that's margin. Bidding at a 40% margin, realizing 19 or 20. He listens to everything we do, so he's going to listen to
Okay.
this. But it wasn't because people were screwing up. It was because of bidding improperly. We were leaving things out that needed to be. He has since corrected that. And we've had to work through low margin bids to get to where he is now. But he's bidding at 45 and getting it.
Yeah.
You don't think his life changed?
Yeah, totally.
I mean,
and that would be the case for
completely-
most people.
Yeah.
You know,
His margins basically doubled.
I think it's an important thing to recognize if the low margin's your issue, that if customers aren't saying no to you, then you're bidding too low. Like if you win 100% of the jobs you quote, you're bidding too low. Like you should be striving to win. Like even just start at like, hey, I want 50-50. I want to quote jobs and lose 50% of them, because that means that you're hitting a good margin. You're getting the market value. You're getting the better customers who are willing to pay a premium. Like you should be getting no's regularly, right? And that's a good thing. And if you have that mindset of no, like, they would say no, then you're taking on work that is not the right kind of work, and you're going to have issues beyond just low margin work, but customers that are expecting cheap stuff, like high quality, cheap price, right? And that's just not a good combination. So that's one area. But I think another one, you mentioned there's mess ups, right? So you think about, okay, we're leaking margin at the front end where we're not giving the right price. We're bidding too low. But then, before we get to our gross profit, we have all these issues that we're running into where we order too much material, and then we have too much waste, and then we, take too much time, and all these kinds of things. We're inefficient. You're leaking margin there. But then you have it on the overhead of we're spending too much money to run our company. And I think, for us, we have salaried employees. We don't have materials, so we don't have a lot of gross expenses, but we have a lot of overhead. And for us, I always think about software. I always think about, meals and all that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Where you're
what else
leaking. Yeah.
like a simple thing. I've been paying for internet probably for 5 years, and I was paying for, I think it was like $35 a month of priority support if something goes wrong. I didn't even know. It happened to be on the bill. So basically, if I've got an issue, they come out and I don't have to pay the service fee, and they come out like within 24 hours, like maybe not same day, but at least the next day. I have never called for support once in my life for the internet people to come out and fix it. And so I just spent $35 a month for 5 years on something I never use. Now that's not going to like change my business, but that's just one thing. I looked at my cell phone bill. We pay for insurance on every single phone, and it's like $20 a month for this insurance. And I still have to pay a deductible of like $300 if something goes wrong with the phone. And it's like, oh my gosh, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And you just multiply these things out. It's like, oh wow, we're saving so much just by, asking questions.
Yeah. Well, all of those and so many that are familiar to our listeners, the crew stopping at the convenience store, trips
Yeah,
to
those
the
big ones.
to the parts house because he didn't have the right parts. Maybe you lose a whole day on a job that you mowed to already, but the culvert didn't come in, right? I don't know, something. So you wasted a whole day and now you're off. Yeah, it's that question should never end. Should ask that question every day and plug the leaks. So.
Well, and it helps. What I would say is it's important to look. It's to look for the leaks. it's not like the leaks are always going to be very apparent. You're going to have to sit down and say, hey, let me just spend some time looking at our expenses, looking at our processes, looking at how we do the job, and just watching and observing and saying, hey, where are we wasting? Where's the waste? Yeah, that's the most important
Yep.
thing. Okay, so that was 8. Let's go on to 9.
9, how long could we survive if sales stopped today? Okay.
So
Now
this is like a cash reserves question almost.
well, to me, it is. People could
Yeah.
could think about that differently, but that I get asked that a lot. How much cash should I have around? And
Yeah.
it's, obviously, I'm going to say 3 months of complete expenses available as cash or cash or equivalent, because that's what I think.
Yeah.
But it's, you need enough that having a cash reserve is way more than the ability to pay your bills in the bank. A cash reserve, and I should have written it down. I've got 15 ways that having a cash reserve changes your life. You make confident decisions. You can
Oh
take,
yeah.
you can buy materials and things like that when an opportunity comes up. You buy from suppliers who offer good advice and good deals and maybe store the stuff for you. Guys who don't have cash pay 19% on their credit cards to buy, and they get rush orders because they postpone it. Anyway, there are all these things. You are a different person, sleep the sleep of a workman if you have
Yeah.
cash. If you don't have cash, stress is there. You're worried about everything. So getting that sufficient cash reserve is critical. And people always say, well, I can't. Well, you've heard it all. I've heard it all. Well, you can put $10 in an account. Well, one mistake people do, we're clearing the cash reserves from what wasn't specifically that is the question. But one thing that people tend to do is they decide they are going to build a reserve, and they take 50,000 or 100,000 and put it in the bank, get it going, right? Then they have to take it out because they
Yeah.
didn't have that amount. So start with something reasonable and keep
Slow
going.
and steady.
Well, and
Like
there
the
are,
tortoise in the hare, essentially.
yeah, and there are other ways people could listen to that question and say, what would happen? Well, how long can we survive if sales stop? And then what should we do about it? How do we start them again, right? So,
Yeah. I think, obviously these aren't always the great examples, but for us, because I did a huge audit of and basically by going to an annual payment, we're able to save 30 to 50% on all of our software expenses by just going to annual, which is huge. Like for us, at least, we use a lot of software. And so if you're a good contractor out there, you've got a great CRM, you've got maybe a phone system, you've got a website, you've got project management tool, you've got something for your fleet management. All these things have costs per
Bookkeeping.
seat and bookkeeping software, all that kind of stuff. If you can move it to a lot of it, you're paying for monthly, and you have been for years. So it's not like you need to, oh, well, if we wanted to cancel, I want to be able to do it. And if you can move that to an annual and save 30 to 40 or 30 to 50% across the board on all of your software, that's a good chunk of change. It was for us, and we don't have that big of a team, and our costs aren't that high in software per seat. So it's just something to think about. You can save a ton of money just by moving to that annual payment. The other thing, we're right in the middle of it right now, where we ran into someone who would be an incredible hire for us. Like they have the best traits, great experience. Just you sit on a talk with this person, you're like, oh, I like you a lot, and because we have cash, I don't know that we would have said, oh, let's go right now on this role. But because it's the right person, I think we're going to move forward. I have a conversation this afternoon with her, right? So if I was tight on cash, I wouldn't be able to do that, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just another thing to think about. You can take advantage of the opportunities on the right person. You can take advantage of the opportunities because of, materials, like you mentioned. Maybe it's a different type of service. Like, you can think about those things with clarity, if you have cash. So,
Yeah.
all right, our last question, Martin, number 10.
What is the real root cause of my stress? It can be different for many people, but what the number one cause for me anyway, over the years has been worry and what ifs to the
Okay.
negative side. Okay. So you
Hmm.
start to look at that and say, well, I'm always assuming, I make that conscious and say, I'm always assuming it's negative. I get up every morning and work hard, and we all work hard to make it not be negative, to make it positive. There's nothing lining up us in opposition to us. Why do I keep thinking that way? So by analyzing what it is that's bothering me, I can mitigate the stress in many cases by saying,
Yeah.
that's not a rational. Jefferson said, how much pain the evils have cost us that have never happened. And my other one that I love is Mark Twain said, worry is a misuse of imagination. And so he's kind of saying stress is a misuse of imagination because it,
Mm.
in most cases, I think tends from worry. But there can
Yeah.
be other reasons. You literally don't have cash to make payroll on Tuesday. Any person who's been around for any time knows that feeling. Skip your
Yeah.
own check, then have to go tell your spouse you paid everybody, but not me, right? Well, what about your family? Anyway, but understanding what is the real cause of the stress kind of points you to a place where you need to take action. Could be
Yeah.
that cash reserve we're talking about. Could be that I don't really have an exit plan and I know it. So our very first question was, what do I want this business to do for me? You get some clarity around that, and all of a sudden, a lot of difficult decisions fall away because I'm not doing that. This is what I'm doing, and this is why I'm doing it. And so, no, I'm not going to do that, and I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah. I think stress, for me, there's a great quote by Eric Hoffner. I have no idea who that is. I just saw it. But he says, our greatest weariness comes from work not done. And I think that is the source of my stress 100%. It's all the things that aren't done. It can be a house project. It can be like something internal. It can be something for a client. It can be an idea that I really am thinking about all the time and I just haven't been able to start. But it's all the things that are on my to-do list that don't get done. That is the greatest
Well,
source of my stress. And it's what causes the worry. It's what causes the mind that I'm thinking up at night, but it's all the things that are not done.
right.
And if they were done, I would be like, oh, I can breathe. Right. And the
No,
unfortunate thing
no,
about entrepreneurs,
you'd
what's
be
the
like,
next thing?
add 20. Okay. You'd
Yeah.
add 20
No,
more.
yeah. And I think, again, I've referenced GTD, getting things done. I'm in the thick of it right now, but that has absolutely helped me a lot with this because I have a trusted system that stores the ideas that I have and the things that need to be done. And I know that, like, okay, it's going to get worked on at some point. Like, it's there, right? I know what needs to be done now. I know what the projects are that I have. I know the Sunday maybes. These are the things I need to focus on now, right? But that is the 100% the source. At the end of the day, if something didn't get done, that's what causes my stress. So I'm in this process right now of how can I reduce the things that are on my list? And it's a process of saying, hey, that's a someday maybe, or that's really not important at all. Like, you're just thinking too far ahead. And then it's also trusting other people to do things. So anyways, but I like that. I like your quote on worry is a misuse of imagination. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Mark
Who was
Twain.
that?
Mark
Mark Twain.
Twain. Yeah, I'll take
Yeah.
credit, but I think people already know.
Yeah. Well, I love this. These were great. This was a great exercise of going through the least questions. And I think, so what I want to do for the one thing for our listeners, we will make, if you are subscribed to ChatGPT Pro, so a $20 subscription, in the show notes, there's a link. Put in your email address and we will email you, or you can just email me directly if you want. I will email you a prompt that you can throw into ChatGPT. And then I'll give a video too of how you can do this, but you're just going to go into voice mode and you can sit down and have a 30-minute, 1-hour conversation with ChatGPT. And you'll go through all of these questions for yourself, and it'll help you process and think through and clarify. And then at the end, when you stop the recording or the conversation with AI, you can get a summary of all these things, of all the questions you're not asking, or maybe you are, but you don't ask often, and where you currently stand. So yeah, we'll make that for you. And if you want it, just shoot us an email or fill out the form in the show notes and you'll get it.
Great idea, Khalil.
Okay. Martin, it's always good to see you.
You too, sir.
All right.
See you
Take
next
care.
time.
You made it to the end of the episode, but before you go, if you found yourself thinking about growing your construction business while listening today, I want to share something with you. It's called our 24 Things to Hiring and Training the Perfect Executive Assistant for Your Construction Business. And it's a free guide that we've created. It's not theory. It's what we actually use to help contractors hire the perfect executive assistant. And really, we help you find ways to delegate over 50% of your current workload and get back 20 hours of your time every single week. You didn't start your construction business to just be doing admin work, to be buried in paperwork and endless admin tasks. This is the guide that shows you exactly how to find and train someone who can actually take all that weight off of your shoulders. So this is a real actionable, great PDF that has templates and processes. It's really, really great. And I want you to check it out, even just to get your feedback and how we can make it even more valuable. But I know that you're gonna love it. The link is in the show notes. Please download it. We'd love to see how much of an impact it makes on you and your business. Thanks for listening to the full episode. Check out the guide. It's free. No reason to hesitate. No reason to wait. Download it now. And before you go, I just want to ask for your gracious subscription to our podcast. So if you have 2 seconds, it means the world to us. Just subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or if you'd like our weekly newsletter delivered to your inbox whenever we release an episode, please subscribe in the show notes. Every week, we're talking about real strategies on how you can grow and build a profitable construction business that runs without you, so you can have less stress, more time, and more money. Click subscribe wherever you listen to the show, and thank you again for checking out the Cashflow Contractor. See you on the next episode.